welcome into the Gramlich and McLean podcast presented by Ingles, the official supermarket of Gramlich and McLean. Almost sounded like presented by Eagles, the
Hey.
Philadelphia Eagles, because that's basically what we're doing today, Mac. We have Clemson legend, Super Bowl champion, all around friend of the pod, Will Shipley, joining us today. Mac had the great idea of let's just talk to Ship about the Super Bowl and his whirlwind of the last year. Mac, this interview was awesome.
It was so much fun. It's so funny. I'm sure Ship had 18 billion texts. I can't even imagine how many text messages that he got. And funny enough, I texted him I gave him a couple days. And then I texted him. And again, so many things. I'm sure I was lost in the sauce. He texted me back. I don't even know how many days later. I forgot that I even asked him. And it just popped up. He was like, hey, can you do Thursday? I was like, great. Yes, of course. Of course we can. It was such a fun conversation. The curtain that he peels back, y'all, you're going to love it. Just to hear from his perspective. And he was super real about a lot of different things. And hearing about his teammates and the success and the whirlwind. I mean, it was unbelievable. You're going to love this episode. Lock in with us. We also need you to lock in with Ingles. Go head over to their stores. If they're in your area, you got to load up, okay? We're sprinting out of tailgating season. The Super Bowl's over. College football's over. But they got everything you need, everyday life. I'm cooking meat all the time now. I have so much time. Replicate what I do. Go there, the best meat in town, smoke it up, cook it up, whatever you got to do. Really quick, a message from our friends at Ingles, and then we're going to talk with one of Clemson's best. Let's go.
Did you know that Ingles sells more organics than any other store? Or that they run their own dairy? Or that they only serve USDA choice and prime meat? Did you know that they have more local craft beer than any place else? Or that they have Energy Smart stores? Or that they professionally slice and package imported cheese from Europe? Did you know about their giant international aisle, local farm partnerships, curbside pickup, wine department? Or that they donate 3,956 meals a day to local food banks? Well, now you do. It's all in the bag. Ingles, low prices, love the savings.
Will Shipley, great to see you. First team All ACC, All American, 5-star in college, ACC champion, Super Bowl champion. Will Shipley. That hits a little bit different, brother. Great to see you. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank y'all so much for having me. Always a pleasure. I've definitely missed y'all, so I'm excited to get back on.
Well, Ship, we think that you are our first Super Bowl champ, so we are honored to have you on the pod. And you kind of said this off air, but I want you to talk about it on air. Just before we really dive into the specifics, I mean, what a whirlwind rookie year for you. Can you just kind of break it down and try to explain what the heck just happened in your rookie year?
Yeah, it's really just been sinking in for me. The past couple weeks that we've had off, but just going all the way back to April 25th, when I got that phone call from Philadelphia, PA. With my brother sitting right next to me who played college lacrosse here for 5 years. My mom and dad who are very familiar with the area. So, I mean, we were so pumped when we got that phone call. And then, you kind of go right into it after that. You're as a rookie, you're just trying to figure out things as they fly by you. So, I would say really the first time that I got to rest and really appreciate where my feet were was when I got my concussion against the Commanders, December 22nd. And that's because I was in concussion protocol. It wasn't going out to practice or doing all that stuff, but literally from the time I got drafted to then, I feel like bullets were just flying, and I think that's just your rookie season for you. But I got such a good support cast here, such good friends and teammates, that were able to help me out. The vets, the running back room that I'm in, I mean, just so darn blessed, man. And, and then you get to the postseason and it's like, shoot, we're going for week 22, all the way to week 25 if we're talking about preseason included. So it is a long darn season, but wouldn't trade it for the world. It was a special year and just what we were able to accomplish. It's what we set out to do. So I don't think we were surprised, but we were just really happy we were able to get it done.
Yeah, that's incredible. So many things that you just kind of touched on right there that we'll jump into and hit them all. And I'll let KG go Super Bowl next. But I was fascinated by this because you started with one number and I was kind of like, it's NFL. Hey, you're in the league. It is what it is. I was like, right. That number's ugly, Ship. And then you ended up in 2-8. What happened there? How'd we get to 2-8? Because it looked good. You looked good in that. And I know Coach CJ Spiller was probably jacked up when he saw it.
Yeah, yeah, so you come in as a rookie, and you don't really get much of a choice. It's kind of whatever numbers are left out there. So, had a couple choices in the 30s, and just went ahead with 39. Not knowing if I was going to be able to switch or not, but kind of once again just rolling with the punches. And then yeah, we get through preseason, and G, our equipment manager, comes up to me. He's like, "Hey, we got 28 open, and some of those other 30 numbers that were open before the season. We're like, what do you want to do?" And it's funny that you mentioned CJ, because he's immediately who came to mind, and Coach Spiller for me. But yeah, I thought immediately about him, and I just thought, how cool would it be to be able to represent 2-8 the way that he did. So, there was a multitude of reasons. One being it's a lot cooler than 39 as well. But, I got to throw Coach Spiller in there too, because he just played such a pivotal role in my career and where I am today. So,
That's awesome. Yeah, meant to be to get number 28. That does look a lot better, Ship. And we're glad
thank
that
you.
when you had some of your breakout moments here in a Philadelphia uniform, it was in 2-8. So, okay, let's talk about the Super Bowl. At one point, you guys were up 34-0. Like, I mean, congrats to you guys. I was bored, right? Like, it was such a dominant performance
Yeah.
by the Philadelphia Eagles. So, in the 2 weeks leading up to the Super Bowl, there's all this chatter. It was I think it ended up being like a pick 'em game. I mean, no one thought that the Chiefs were just going to win, right? Just because they're the Chiefs. But how are those 2 weeks of practice? And like, did you realize at one point it was 34-0? It was just dominant.
Yeah, it really was. And, I think for me, after that long bomb to Smitty with like 2 minutes left to go in the third, to go up 34-0, I think, that's when, I won't say the celebration started, but everybody was like, all right, we got to stay even keeled, ready to finish the game. But like, we've done what we're supposed to do. And there was just so much joy and excitement on the sidelines. But yeah, I mean, we went into the game very confident in our abilities as a team. We'd watched film all week. Obviously, the Chiefs deserve to be there. It's such a great team led by a great quarterback, one of the greatest ever. But we knew that if we went in and handled our business, that we were going to be able to do that. I don't think anyone thought that it would be 34-0 at any point in the game, including us. But we were confident in our abilities, and there's no doubt about that. Throughout the 2 weeks of preparation we had before, going down to New Orleans a week before, and just really confident in what we could do. I think anybody can see the roster that was put together, for the Eagles organization. It was a great one, so shout out to Mr. Lurie, Howie, and Nick for that. I mean, just incredible. So yeah, it's still kind of just sinking in. It's a special moment and just such a special year.
Yeah, it really was. And I'm glad that you kind of were real with us and just saying, I mean, nobody thought 34-0. No one thought 40-6 at one point. You're
Come
just
on,
like,
it's the
what is
Super Bowl.
happening? Yeah,
It's the
what is
Super
going
Bowl
on against the Chiefs?
Exactly.
I mean, it's just, what is going on? But you mentioned, how Howie has built this team, and you guys are compiled. I mean, number one, it's a bunch of winners. I mean, every person I look at, the program they come from, the Alabamas, the Clemsons, the Georgias, Oklahoma, if you want to throw, that in there. It's impressive, right? And on top of that, it's some big ass dudes on the line of scrimmage. Like, it's monsters on their both sides. And it's just terrifying to really look at. So big people hurt little people. We hear it all the time from different coaches. And that's exactly what you saw. I want to know, in this 34-0, outside of that, and just a dominant game, like what surprised you the most of the game? Was it, just your defense feasting and looking unbelievable? Was, any aspect of the game you were kind of sitting there like, dang, this is pretty impressive what's happening right now?
Yeah, I would say no part of the game really surprised me, just because, I feel like we were so prepared. Our defense was so ready, and Coach Fangio and what he was able to do with them this year was incredible. Really, after the bye week, I mean, I think you saw one of the greatest defenses that the NFL has seen in quite some time. And that's just a shout out to all the players that stepped in and did that. My fellow rooks, Coop and Q, some dogs, man. ZB, Zach Bond, OB stepping in at linebacker for N'Kobe that went down. I mean, I could go down the whole list and say that. I would say the biggest thing that surprised me, though, it wasn't even on the field, is the Philly fan base showing up. And I shouldn't say it surprised me because I always expect them to, and they always do. But, I mean, it was 70-30 in that stadium, and that might even be gracious.
See, that is surprising, though. That's awesome.
It is, it's the Super Bowl. It's down in New Orleans, and we showed out. And I think everybody recognized it, especially on social media with that Coop pick six. You just heard the crowd roar, and that's truly how it was all game. Is Philly fans showing up per the usual, and they truly made it feel like a home game. So yeah, that was awesome.
Philly fans are built different in a lot of different ways. I think it's safe to say there. Ship, okay, the game ends, and it's sinking in that you won the Super Bowl. I mean, it's got to feel so surreal. Like, you at Clemson, you won championships. You never, got to the big one here. So to do it in your first year at Philly, like, just walk us through the feeling. Mac and I want to live vicariously. Like, what was the feeling like?
Yeah. So for me, it was special because Coach Singleton gave me the opportunity to go out on the last couple kneel downs. So, I was on the field, and it gives me goosebumps even just talking about it. But, I was on the field as the time expired and the confetti started coming down. And then, you just see everybody that you love and, all your teammates, all your coaches, everybody that you grind with 7 days a week. And I think anytime you accomplish something that you work so hard for, it makes it, that much better. And that's honestly how I felt. It was such an overflow of emotions. I think one of the best ways I can explain it is I truly felt like I was just inside a video game. It was just the most surreal moment and just so much joy. I don't know, I'd really have to think about it, but definitely probably top 2 or 3, just most joyous moments in my life. And I definitely hope to get back there again and be able to experience it. But to do it my rookie year, to be able to wear that, Super Bowl hat and T-shirt, stand up on that stage and hold up the Lombardi trophy. I don't know if I'll ever get that feeling again. So it was special.
I can only imagine, because it's a lot different than other sports, right? Like, you are literally the best in the world. The Philadelphia Eagles from 2020 are the best in the world. Like, there's no contention. There's nobody else on any level that can mess with that. And it's incredible to see, and it's an incredible accomplishment. And we're juiced up for you, man. We really are super excited. And, I think another guy that I'm so jacked up for, just because I loved him in college. We had a little bit of crossover, but really just watching him as a fan. And that's arguably one of the best running backs ever in Saquon Barkley. This dude shows up to Philly, takes a risk, right? Like, decides to leave a team that drafted him, a place that loved him. And I'm sure he loved being there. But at the end of the day, he wants to win and he wants to take that next step in his career. And he did. So tell me about Saquon Barkley, the person, because it was really cool seeing it from afar. Yeah.
He's better than his reputation. He truly is. And that's saying something because, everybody thinks very highly of him. As a football player, obviously, you get to see on Sundays what he's capable of doing on the gridiron, but off the field as well. He was the first person that texted me after I got drafted, after just shortly being brought in, and just let me know that I was welcome and that, he's ready to get to work, which is exactly what I needed to hear. And, just ever since I got in there, from rookie minicamp to OTAs to, all the way really through preseason, he just took me under his wing and helped me out. Gave me so many tips. I've gotten asked just a lot about him because of, the success he's had and me being so close with him in the running back room. And I've told everybody, I feel like I could write a book just off of all the tips and all the, guidance that he's given me this year.
Yeah.
And I truly mean that. He helps me out every single day. And I hope that I do the same. I try to help him out in areas where I can, but when someone's got that much experience and been that successful, and also faced that much adversity,
Sure.
like you said, the injuries he went through, as well as, switching teams and taking a risk on himself, coming to Philly. He's been through a lot. So, yeah, just so willing to share all of his knowledge. Couldn't be more thankful for him and really the whole running back room. You know, him, Kenny Gainwell played a pivotal role. Coach Singleton helped me out so much too. And I think it just really made me realize, one, that I got to continue to put in the work, but also just how high my ceiling can be.
Sure.
And, you know, if I continue to stay on the right track, then, you know, all my goals and dreams can come true. But I got to be the first one to believe in myself,
Yeah.
you know, instead of everybody else. And I would say that's probably some of the best advice that has stuck with me from him this year.
Yeah, and I don't think there's any doubt about that. How about as the player, man? Because you mentioned it a little bit, and of course we get to see it, right? We get to see the finished product. We don't get to see the work, but I mean, this guy over 2,000 yards. He's jumping over people backwards. I mean, that play, that's one of the craziest plays, if not the craziest play I've ever seen in my life.
I agree.
He is so special. I mean, the moments that you saw this year, from the massive runs in the playoffs to jumping over dudes backwards. I mean, are you just in awe? I mean, on Sundays or even in practice when you see this guy do some of those things?
Yeah, everybody is. You know, I think the video after he did the backwards hurdle and it panned over to our sideline pretty much explains how we feel about Saquon Barkley. I mean, everybody jaws dropped, like, what the hell did this dude just do? And I mean, yeah, he pretty much has one of those plays every Sunday, if not one, two. You know, but that's truly just who he is. You know, he's been that way. I would say since he's in college, but probably even before that. You know, I know that he wasn't really recruited as much coming out of high school, but I think that's probably just people missing out on him. He's always been a freak athlete, and he also just prepares better than anyone I've ever seen. You know, the film that he watches, the stuff that allows him to be confident going into a game. You know, he doesn't think about what if, you know, he doesn't have any fear. He goes out there and he's playing at 150% capacity. And I think that can help anybody play better, you know. So he's got the special capabilities. There's no doubt about it. But there's a lot of people in this league that do. I think what makes him truly special is the preparation that he puts in, the film work, all the stuff he does in the training room, the weight room. I mean, it's truly admirable.
What a great person to learn from too, Ship. And the fact that he was the first person to text you, I mean, that tells you a lot
It
about a
does.
person. So that's huge. All right, Ship, we got to talk about the NFC Championship too, okay? We weren't
Yeah.
going to let you off the hook there. I got to take you behind the scenes. I'm in my basketball grind, right? So I'm driving back from some random ACC city, and my husband calls me. He goes, Kelly, Will Shipley forced a fumble, had a massive run, and scored a touchdown. And I'm like, what? And you know, Mac and I are Clemson alums. My husband is too. So it was just kind of like a proud moment. And we've had you on the podcast so many times. You're such a great representative for our school. So to see you do that was really incredible. I mean, was that like an out of body experience for you? Like, walk us through all those plays you made in the NFC Championship.
Yeah, you know, I think for me, it's just kind of been what I've been waiting for. You know, it's what I've prepared for all year. And that's the thing about the NFL and being a rookie and being in such a great room is, like, you never really know when your opportunity is going to come. So, you know, something Coach Spiller always instilled in me was prepare like the starter every week. You know, it doesn't matter what you are. But that's what he told our room all the time was you never know when your opportunity is going to come up. It's one play away. You know, and that's truly how I prepared all season. So I just feel like, you know, God ordained it and he allowed the opportunity to be on, you know, one of the biggest stages that we saw all season. You know, starting with the forced fumble. It actually, we were attempting to kick it out, and it was a little bit of a mishit, which happens all the time, you know, but the guy that was blocking me, he wasn't ready. You know, so the ball lands like right inside the 20-yard line on the opposite side of the field that we called. And instead of going outside, which is, you know, my job is to maintain leverage and not let the kick returner go outside of me, I go inside of my blocker. And I think he was just kind of taking it back, like, what's this dude doing? You know, he didn't know where the football was. So I was able to get around him. And then I saw the off returner, you know, Luke McCaffrey, one of my good friends as well, you know, coming to block me. And then that's when I was like, oh crap, I better get on the outside shoulder because if this returner gets outside, then I didn't do my job, So, did that, make sure I got on his outside shoulder, and the returner really kind of ran into me a little bit. I was there for sure, but it's funny because the linebacker coach came up to me after it happened. He was like, "How'd you punch it out? We work on different things all the time. He's like, did you tomahawk it?" Or I was like, "Coach, I think my helmet or shoulder pad hit it out. Like I got no clue. I was just trying to stop
Coach,
him.
he hit me with the ball. I don't know what
Exactly.
happened.
I was just trying to stop him or do whatever and not let him get outside.
Wait, quickly on that. You didn't ever do kick return coverage at
Heck
Clemson?
no.
So
No.
when's the last time you had done that
Never.
Eagles?
He's never
Never.
done it in his
Ever.
life.
Never.
Never like a freshman in high school? Never.
Never.
Hey, that NFL's different shit.
That's
Whatever you can
crazy.
do. Whatever you
Yeah,
can do.
if you want to be one of the 53 walking out there,
Yeah.
you got to get prepared to do whatever they throw your way.
Yeah.
And that was probably the biggest shift for me this year was going from being a star guy or somebody that is going to impact the game with how many carries he gets, how many touchdowns he gets, to being able to just do your job and kind of go unnoticed on special teams. And that's part of it for sure, but
Yeah.
just so thankful for being put through that, because I feel like it taught me so much. And it was definitely a perspective shift, but it was really good for me.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay. Well, now let's talk about the
Yeah.
runs. Let's
Yeah.
talk about the good things being a running back.
Yeah, so-
I do
so-
have a quarrel. Finish the damn run, Ship. Get in the end zone. What
Right?
happened?
Right?
I saw you looking up. Why'd you look up? I think that's what slowed you down. You looked up
100%.
instead of
Yeah.
just taking off.
Well, looking back at it, there's always 100 things I'd do different.
Sure,
You know what I
sure.
mean? But we were up by, I think 20 plus
100,
points at that
200,
time.
whatever it
4
was.
minute, which is kind of the plays that I've gotten this year. I go in there, and I think probably 3 or 4 people tell me coming off the sideline, "Don't lose that football.
Right.
Don't lose that football."
Right.
So that's on the forefront of my mind. There's no doubt about it. Yeah. We get out there and we run the first play. I think it's a pickup of 9 or maybe a little over 10 yards. So I was pumped about that. And then we called our counter play, and I was like, bet. Yeah, this is bread and butter, baby. It's the one you've seen Saquon hit his head on the goalpost all year. Yeah, we called that, and it's funny, right as we're sitting out there, Jalen's got the snap count going. He just looks over at me. He's like, "Don't fumble." I was like, "All right." All right. But I mean, that's truly what you're thinking about for a minute. It's his job to let me know, what situation we're in. So he was doing his job. But, I get the ball, see my blocks really cleanly. And, I feel like I really accelerated, and I did a good job of, for finding the hole and getting through there. And then what I regret, what I would change is looking up at that board for sure. It's something that I've never done, and I don't know why I did it. I also haven't had a run like that in quite some time, so I was prepared for it for sure. But looking up, one, it brought my chest up and slowed down my gait. And then when I look up and I see those guys close 5 yards away or whatever, I'm like, you know what? I ain't risking it. I ain't risking it. I'm 2 hands over that ball, and then that completely slowed me down.
For sure.
Yeah. So I mean, that's looking at it from a very statistical standpoint of what things I could have done better.
That was real. That makes so much. I mean, first of all, the people are telling you when you're going in, and then for your QB to look at you and be like, "Hey, dog, do not
don't fumble that ball,
bro." I would have been running like this the whole play.
Exactly.
Running like Jerome Bettis through that thing. That makes so much sense, man.
Truly looking back at the play, like I was very happy with my acceleration in the first 30 yards of my run. And,
For sure.
And it's stuff that I've got to continue to work on. I'm not claiming to be a finished product, but I know that next time I get that opportunity, I'm banging my head on the goalpost.
No doubt.
I could tell you all that right now. So that was that one. And then at the end of the day, I was sitting in that huddle. All the O-line was getting after me, like, "Unhook the trailer, shit. What you doing, man? Like, we don't want to be out here for another play." I was like, "My bad, y'all. I promise y'all I'm going to get in, though." So I think 2 plays later, we were able to get in on a little duo play and, push Jordan Mailata into the end zone with me. That's kind of always been my bread and butter too in the goal
Yeah.
line.
Yeah.
People kind of knock me for being a smaller back, don't think I can get it done in the red zone. But hey, when you got someone that big up front, you just find some of your color and you push them in with you.
That's right.
And that's always helped me a little bit. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's how I was able to get that one in. And yeah, I'm sure everybody saw the celebration after Saquon running off the
First
sideline to
guy.
come meet
Yeah.
me. I mean, that just goes to him again. Just how awesome of a teammate he is, but really all my teammates and
Yeah.
just how happy they were for me. And, yeah, I mean, it's something I'll remember for the rest of my life, but people ask me, what's your favorite play from that game? And it's the forced fumble, no doubt. It's just making a play like that on a big stage on something that I never thought that I would do. A forced fumble on kickoff coverage. Like I put in a lot of work for that, and the coaches have helped me get to the point where I could be successful on it. So I just felt like I was, it's my favorite play for sure.
That's amazing. I'm getting goosebumps right now just thinking about ball, man. I mean, it's just so fun. You're talking about your guys getting you in the end zone, talking trash to you, special teams, masterful plays.
Yeah.
It's just, I mean, football is literally the best. And it's so fun to just hear about it and to see guys like yourself that literally day one, I will never forget hearing the reports when you got to Clemson about this dude's pushing us like he's a fifth-year senior and he's a 4-day freshman. Like you're just different, bro. And I know the way that you work. I know what it means to you. And it's cool to see people like that, kind of rewarded and to make that happen. And again, you mentioned that's your favorite play, the forced fumble. You're the only player in NFL history in the playoffs with a forced fumble and a rushing touchdown. I mean, it's incredible. One of one to be able to do that. Let's go back big picture and just zoom out incredibly. You mentioned it at the very beginning. It's an unbelievable whirlwind. You're literally sprinting since April. What was the biggest lesson, and maybe what was the biggest overall adjustment? You kind of touched on that as well, what you may have thought. But what were those two things for you going from college to sprinting through your rookie year?
Yeah, it's like I said, if you're including preseason, you get to the Super Bowl as we did, it's 25 weeks, which is crazy to even say because the longest college season you could possibly have is 15, so it's long. And I would say shout out to the Eagles support staff, all the rookie mentors and what they were able to do through that program. I think probably the best piece of advice I got all year is to break up the season into 4 quarters, same way that a game goes. And, that just really allowed me to, figure out my plan in the first quarter. What did I want to do? How did I want to attack the season? How did I want to attack each week? What was my routine going to be? And then second quarter is when you implement that. You're really getting into the front part of the season. You're kind of seeing how everything's going. You're able to implement it. And then that quarter 3 is when you're reassessing that. What went well in quarter 2? What can I change? What can I do to better myself headed into the last quarter and where I got to finish best? And then, quarter 4 is when you take that reassess plan and you put it back into work. So I always do better when I'm able to do stuff like that and break it up, have these tasks in front of me rather than just looking at it as 25 long weeks. You're able to break it up into 4 different quarters and attack it rather than a long-term goal. You're looking at short-term goals that will stack up and lead you to your long-term goals. So once again, huge shout out to our support staff at the Eagles organization, the ones that help out with the rookies and really just everybody for all their advice, because that was definitely some of the best advice that I got, and I felt like really helped me throughout this season.
Yeah, when you say 25 weeks, I mean, that's a different animal. That can be literally double a college season, depending on, where you make it. But Ship, okay, just speaking of that real quick, how did Clemson prepare you for your rookie year? Like, how do you feel, what kind of role did Clemson play in your success you were able to have in your first year?
Yeah, they played such a huge role. I think about it every day, and you get to see it because all the guys around you are from different programs. And as Max said, is very thankful throughout the Eagles organization that we have a lot of those guys coming from very successful programs that get you ready for moments like we had this year. But with Clemson, I would say, first of all, just having Coach Spiller by my side since my freshman year. We learned, we grew together, and just him having that experience, I feel like helped me so much. And we stayed in contact pretty much every week this year. He'd shoot me a text. So funny, actually. I'm sure everybody would love to hear this. He shot me a text 2 days ago, and he was like, all right, get off cloud nine, buddy. Put that rabbit back down and start chasing. So I mean, that just goes into truly, who he is to me. He's a role model to me, somebody that I look up to, and somebody that's been through these experiences. So, his ability to put me back in check, each week, shoot me a text and let me know, where my mindset needs to be, was huge for me. And then just everybody at Clemson. I mean, from the strength program to the academic center, always keeping me on my time management and how I'm able to do that. To Coach Sweeney, who I could go on about for years, because he's such a good football coach, but he's an even better leader of young men. And that's what he always says is, he has a PhD in helping 18 to 22 year olds. He helped me mature, he helped me grow, and, he truly got me to where I am right now and handed me off to the Eagles organization. And that's how I see it. My parents handed me off to him, and he handed me off to the Eagles organization. Now I'm kind of a little more on my own because it's a business. It's the NFL. You got such a great support system, but it is a little different. There's no doubt about it. But yeah, I could go on for days about Coach Sweeney. He truly is the best. Someone I keep in touch with as well. He was shooting me, Trot, and KJ text throughout the playoffs and keeping in touch with us. And then, the last thing I'll always give a shout out to is my boys. You got Maffa, Brenny, MT, Bo over at Notre Dame had a great year this year, but just having those guys with me, throughout my 3 years at Clemson, all altered my path for sure. Just such great dudes, pushed me on the football field for sure, but just also off the field, pushed me in my faith, pushed me in my friendships and my relationships and my ability to understand, just what it means to have really a family around you, Yeah. So, those are really all the things that it prepared me for and to get ready. And I don't think I could have been more ready, to be honest with you. And, I hope I showed that as well. I always try to be such a great representation of where I've come from, whether it is my parents, the last name that I have on the back of my jersey, or Clemson University. And, now it's the Eagles for me. So
I love that, man. You do that every day, and we're grateful for it. And all those guys you just mentioned, your boys they're next up, I think they're all coming up on a combine trip. So the next wave of Clemson Tigers is coming in hot, man. Really grateful for your time. This was so much fun just to break it all down, brother, and couldn't be happier for you, man. Appreciate you always.
Yeah, thank you all so much. Always a pleasure coming on here.